All right, today we're going to look at more chords. We had our E major chord, and then an E seventh chord, which take off the pinky, and then E minor seventh chord, and an E minor chord. Again, notice the seventh is when you drop down that pinky into that open D note. Dominant seventh is also called a seventh or dominant seventh. Just to help be confusing, minor seventh, take that third note and make it a minor third. You get a minor seventh. And then straight up minor, major. So again, your minor third to a regular third. If we're doing an E, that's our E right there. We can move this up. Let's go into a bar chord. Full bar chord instead of the E here, and to a seventh, to a minor seventh, and to a minor. That's G minor, G major, minor, major, seventh, minor seventh. So there's a few. Let's go into a different shape. Let's take a look at our A chord. That's an A major. We're not playing the open E string here. It's just the last 5 strings. And then here's a minor. We drop down the third. That's your third. And we go to a minor. We go right there. Of course, we can do it these fingers also, or that's a minor. So there's your major again, A, and here's an A seventh. Take off that ring finger. It's a little tricky to get the fingers out of the way. If we went to a minor and the 7th note, we end up in that position. That's an A minor 7. So what if we moved that? We played these notes this way. We moved it into the 3rd fret barring for your first finger. You get a minor 7th on a C minor 7th right here. And then if we take the minor away and bring it back to the major tone, we get a C 7th. So an interesting thing here, we also can get a C major chord. I bar, there's your A chord, movable to a C. I just bar it, but I don't pronounce the last string. It's like you're breaking your 3rd finger, you don't need to. So you end up with a C. If you need to, I don't know why you would, but you try to put them all together if you wanted. I don't worry about it. They can pay me the extra $1 million for that extra note. So we're playing a C major right there. So we won't get jazzy, but you can make a chord into a 7th easily by making the tonality. Instead of it just a major or minor, which are 3 notes, the 7th is 4 notes. So anytime you introduce the 7th degree of a chord as you're building it, you're bringing in a 4th note of the chord. So there's your C7. Now, interesting, this is the movable A7. And again, the movable E7. So we can go from a rock and roll type of thing. So that's the 1, 4, 5. 1, 2, the 4, and then the 5 would be the D. So, and we can play the chords. Notice that's that C7. I don't really pronounce the G, but you could, because it's the 5 of that C chord scale, and which is a G right there. So I'm just pulsing on that G, as you might notice. So that's kind of a blues flavor sound. As you can hear, it's like 1 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 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 and 1 and 2 I went up 2 frets here into that D sound, and you don't have to pulse on the A. You could, but you don't need to. So I went from the 5 into the flat 5 into the chromatic walk down into a C7, which is the 4, and into the 1. So 1, 4, 5, 1. That would be the classic 1, 4, 5 working. So you could do that, 1, 4, 5. Another vamping idea would just be, say, 5 of, the 5 of 5. So if you started here, the 5, and then you went to the 5, G, it sounds funny, but you're going to the 5 here and playing the G7. Notice that? That's another part of the lesson, but it's a movable D to a D7, and it's a movable D7th flavor all the way up to the G note, 7th. That's the 5 of the C, 5, and then we go to a C7th, which is a 5 away, to the G, 5 away, or a 4 down, but don't get funky. C7, go up a 5th, G7, back to the C7. So you're vamping a 5 of 5, you could say. They're both 5s, the dominant 5th note of a scale, which is the 7th chord, which we're emphasizing here. 7th chord, 7th chord. Often hear dominant 7s. When you're vamping, I showed you a chord scale, 1, 4, 5, but you could just do 1. You just do the 5 chord to the 5 chord to the 5 chord, and you'd go like G7. So I'm vamping between 2 chords. It's a common term you can hear, vamping, just kind of bouncing between 2 chords that make up a rhythm. That would be down, down, down with a muted. Down, up. That's like a pulsed 2 downs. Try that nice and slow. It's an interesting way to think of this one again. You almost have that rhythm in there.